Good day, everyone. We are the Group 2 reporters for the Chapter 7, the novel Nole Me Tangere. Reporters: Lea May Tupas, Rafansel Yames Ardimer, Crislin Guevero, Mika Francisco Langurayan, yours truly, Rachel Anoche, Joshua Sejo, Will Peralta, and John Robert Bernales. Objectives: appraise important characters in the novel and what they represent, and examine present Philippine situation through the examples mentioned in the Nole. Introduction. In more than a century since its appearance, Jose Rizal Nole Me Tangere has become widely known as the great novel of the Philippines, a passionate love story set against the ugly political backdrop of repression, torture, and murder. The Nole, as it is called in the Philippines, was the first major artistic manifestation of Asian resistance to European colonialism, and Rizal became a guiding conscience and martyr for the revolution that would subsequently rise up in the Spanish province. The plot revolves around Crisostomo Ibarra makes raise her of a wealthy clan, returning home after 7 years in Europe and filled with ideas on how to better the lot of his countrymen. Striving for reforms, he is confronted by an abusive ecclesiastical hierarchy and a Spanish civil administration, by turns indifferent and cruel. The novel suggests, through plot developments, that meaningful change in the context is exceedingly difficult, if not possible. So, who are the main characters of the novel?
Juan Crisostomo Ibarra, y. Magsalin Ibarra, a wealthy young man of mixed Spanish and Filipino ancestry who has recently returned to the Philippines from Europe after spending 7 years studying abroad. Ibarra is cultured and well-respected, though the friars in his hometown of San Diego are suspicious of him. This is because his father, Don Rafael, was recently imprisoned in rebel, overserved, and heretic, a sentence that evidently led his death in jail. Ibarra learns of this on his first night back in the Philippines. Ibarra is politically important character because Rizal uses him to voice ideas regarding colonialism and the nature of power in the Philippines. For the majority of the novel, Ibarra believes that although the Catholic friars and the Spanish government are corrupt, they provide the Philippines from the inside out, working with the friars and Spanish officials to bring about positive change without dismantling the system entirely. However, by the end of the novel, once Ibarra is branded a heretical subversive, his ideas about reform and revolution begin to align with Elias' more radical theories. So, Ibarra was an earnest and idealistic young man, influenced by his European education. He felt that improved the country as a part of this. He believed in the power of education to enact reforms and made efforts to establish a school in San Diego to this end. That's all. Thank you.
Crisostomo Ibarra was an earnest and idealistic young man. Also, Ibarra is Filipino-Spanish and the only descendant of the wealthy Spaniard Don Rafael Ibarra. He was born and grew up in the Philippines, but during his adolescence, spent 7 years studying in Europe. Juan Crisostomo Ibarra is the main protagonist in the novel Nole Me Tangere by Jose Rizal. His full name is Juan Crisostomo Ibarra y Magsalin.
Maria Clara. Maria Clara is a woman well regarded in San Diego for her high school social station. When Ibarra is excommunicated after almost killing Father Damaso at a dinner party, arrangements are made for Maria Clara to marry a young Spanish man named Linares. She doesn't speak up against this because she doesn't want to cross her father. As Pine lies, socialite eventually learns that her father isn't her real father, but that he impregnated her mother, who died during childbirth. Maria Clara was born between Padre Damaso and Doña Pia, with her mother dying in childbirth, while Maria Clara was raised the daughter of Capitan Tiago, childhood friends with Ibarra. She was sent to study in the convenient convent of Santa Clara. Soon after, Ibarra left for Europe with her parents, agreeing to betroth them. With Padre Damaso reluctantly agreeing, Maria Clara entered the Santa Clara convent as a nun. Sometime after, in a fit of apparent insanity, she climbed up on the roof of the church, spotted by some guards. And in 1895, Maria Clara fell ill and died a few days later.
So the early life of Padre Damaso became a Franciscan priest in the Philippines sometime in 1858, serving for 3 years at a small town. And as he left, and the natives became or gave tribute to him as a goodbye. So though he learned that the natives had given an event bigger tribute to his successor. So when he left, despite serving a shorter time there, as a part of his reassignment, Padre Damaso became a town curate of San Diego. So while there, he became a close friends with Capitan Tiago and Don Rafael. So he is also became the confessor of Capitan Tiago's wife, who is Doña Pia Alba. So Doña Pia Alba later became pregnant with Damaso's child, and the two exchanged letters during this time. She eventually birthed a girl, so Maria Clara, although dying in childbirth. So as the girl was assumed to be Capitan Tiago's daughter, Padre Damaso instead watched over her as her godfather. So when Capitan Tiago betrothed Maria Clara to her childhood friend Crisostomo Ibarra, the son of Don Rafael, Padre Damaso silently objected to the decision, wanting a better life for Maria Clara through marrying a Spaniard. After Don Rafael's death in prison and his subsequent burial in the parish cemetery, Padre Damaso ordered a gravedigger to transfer his body to Chinese cemetery, with the corpse having gone missing and the Governor General finding out. So Padre Damaso, as punishment, was reassigned to another parish. He also at one point was attacked by the man Elias, reporting the matter to the authorities. So for Maria Clara, during the party Capitan Tiago hosted for Ibarra's return, Padre Damaso ignored the young man's greeting and denied ever having been friends with Don Rafael. So during the dinner, Padre Damaso further belittled Ibarra studied abroad, causing him to leave. Later on, Padre Damaso visited Capitan Tiago and angrily objected to Maria Clara and Ibarra's marriage, to which Capitan Tiago reluctantly agreed. So on the day of the town fiesta, he gave a sermon making vulgar swipes at Ibarra. So during the celebratory dinner for Ibarra's school, Padre Damaso insulted Don Rafael's memory, causing Ibarra to almost kill him. If not for Maria Clara's intervention, he then excommunicated Ibarra as a result. Capitan Tiago later agreed to betroth Maria Clara to Alfonso Linares, or Padre Damaso's relative. So, following Ibarra's supposed death, Padre Damaso visited Maria Clara and shocked as she begged to enter the nunnery in order to forget Ibarra. Sometime after, Padre Damaso was assigned to a distant town, although he was found dead in his office in the following day. So, Padre Damaso was a brash and arrogant individual. So, due to the power afforded to him for being a friar, he acted superior to others and was opposed to natives receiving education abroad. So, this arrogance also came with a rudeness, with the man speaking rather roughly, even going so far as to insult the natives of the Philippines at the party of Capitan Tiago, a native himself. So despite with that, all of this, he did possess a softer side for his daughter, seeing fit to break apart her marriage to Ibarra in order to ensure a better life for her.
Elias, an outlaw and Baguban revolutionary who resents the power of the Catholic Church and Spanish government have over the Philippines. After Ibarra saves his life from a vicious crocodile, Elias swears to protect the young man from his enemies, which are legion. Lurking in the town in the disguise of a day laborer, Elias discovers plots against the Ibarra and does everything he can to rout them. He also tries to convince Ibarra to join him in a band of disenchanted revolutionaries who want to retaliate against the abusive civil guard that empowers the church and oppresses the people it claims to govern.
He and Ibarra engage in long political discussion throughout the novel, each character outlining a different viewpoint regarding the nature of national growth and reform. Elias urged his friend to see that nothing productive will come of working within the existing power structures, since the church and government are both so corrupt and apathic when it comes to actually improving the Philippines. Ibarra is more conservative and doesn't agree with Elias' drastic opinions until he himself experienced persecution at the hands of the most powerful institutions, at which point he agrees with his friend and accepts his fate as a committed subversive revolutionary.
Father Salvi, a serious and committed Spanish friar who takes over Father Damaso's post in Santiago as the town's priest. Fray Salvi is a meticulous and cunning man who uses his religious stature for political influence, benefiting both himself and the church. He is often at odds with the town's military ensign, volleying back and forth for the power over San Diego and its citizens. While preaching, he often have his sextons, people who tend the church grounds, lock the doors so that listeners and especially the ensign must sit through long sermons. Unlike other priests, he refrains from frequently beating non-compliant townspeople, though he applies excruciating might on the rare occasions he does resort to violence. On the whole, though he asserts his influence by engineering behind-the-scenes plans to defame his enemies. For instance, to ruin Ibarra, who is engaged to Maria Clara, the woman Father Salvi secretly loves, he organizes a violent rebellion against the civil guards and frames Ibarra as the ringleader. Just before the bandits descend upon the town, Salvi rushes to the ensign's house and warns him of the imminent attack, thereby portraying himself as a hero concerned with the town's well-being.
Another character in Alametangre is Capitan Tiago or Don Santiago de los Santos, a Filipino socialite and well-respected members of the country's wealthy elite. Close with high-ranking clergy members like Father Salve and Father Damaso, Captain Tiago is one of the richest property owners in Manila and San Diego. He is concerned with making sure his daughter, Maria Clara, marries an affluent man with ample social capital, which is one of the reasons he so quickly abandoned his support of Ibarra when the friars disgraced the young man's name. As for his own disgrace, Captain Tiago is not actually Maria Clara's biological father. Rather, his wife had an affair with Father Damaso before dying in a childbirth. This is perhaps why he is so concerned with keeping up the appearance of respectability, for his own wife dishonored him. As such, he is blind to the rapid posturing of people like Dr. Despadania, a fraudulent doctor for rich people, and his wife, Doña Victorina, an obvious social climber. When they present their nephew Linares as a possible new match for Maria Clara, Captain Tiago is quick to assent, thinking that such a pairing will ensure respectability. Captain Tiago was an influential businessman in San Diego and known as the father of Maria Clara, but the real father of Maria Clara is Father Damaso. Captain Tiago symbolizes the rich Filipino who oppress their fellow Filipinos in exchange for the influence and the riches that they might gain from the powerful associations. Captain Tiago illustrates the serious consequence of colonialism for even relatively privileged indigenous people.
Summary. These 6 characters that introduce or discuss then are the main characters of the novel. They are the characters that play a huge role in the novel Noli Me Tangere. The first character, Juan Crisostomo Ibarra y Magsalin Ibarra. Ibarra is a politically important character because Rizal uses him to voice ideas regarding colonialism and the nature of power in the Philippines. For the majority of the novel, Ibarra believes that although the Catholic friars and the Spanish government are corrupt, they provide the Philippines with valuable support. Second, Maria Clara. Maria Clara is well regarded in San Diego for her high social station. When Ibarra is excommunicated after almost killing Father Damaso at a dinner party, arrangements are made for Maria Clara to marry a young Spanish man. She doesn't speak up against this because she doesn't want to cross. Father Damaso, a Spanish friar living in the Philippines. Father Damaso is an arrogant and pedantic priest who is barely able to speak or understand Tagalog. Ibarra learns that his father, Don Rafael, refused to go to confession and supported secular means of empowering Filipino citizens, and so was cast as a heretic and a subversive. Maria Clara later discovers her real father, which she hopes to keep quiet at all costs, because it would disgrace her deceased mother, honors, and her father's respectability. Elias, an outlaw and vagabond revolutionary who resents the power the Catholic Church and Spanish government have over the Philippines. After Ibarra saved his life from a various crocodile, Elias swears to protect the young man from his enemies, which are legion. Each character engaged in long political discussion throughout the novel, each outlining a different viewpoint regarding the nature of national growth and reform. Father Salve or Fray Salve is a meticulous and cunning man who uses his religious stature for political influence. He is often at odds with the town's military insight, volleying back and forth for power. Unlike other priests, he refrains from beating non-compliant townspeople. Through he upholds exercising might on the rare occasions he does resort to violence. Captain Tiago, or Don Santiago de los Santos. Captain Tiago is one of the richest property owners in Manila and San Diego, close with high-ranking clergy members like Father Salve and Father Damaso. He is concerned with making sure his daughter Maria Clara marries an affluent man. This is why he abandons his support of Ibarra when the friars disgrace the young man's name. Reference.